Hi, this is Kave, and in this episode, I'm gonna talk about migration project from using Kapt to KSP. Uh, we can say briefly that Kapt is a annotation processor, but recently, not recently, I think 2 years ago, Google released the KSP plugin for this purpose to increase build time, I guess, because as mentioned, not here, but Kapt is a plugin for JVM. It is very tightly coupled with JVM. On the other hand, KSP can use in the other platforms such as Kotlin native, Kotlin JS, and so on. Because Kapt is, we can say, plugin on top of JVM and Java language, but KSP targeted Kotlin directly, and it's familiar with the Kotlin idioms and so on. The great task, I think, of Kapt in our Android project in Kapt is slower than KSP, as I think Google claimed the project with room in KSP up to 2 times faster, has faster compile time in comparison to Kapt annotation processor. So this is the overall look of Kapt and KSP itself. I'm not going to deep on these two plugins more, because in this video I'm focused on the migration of existing code base from Kapt to KSP. You can read more about Kapt and KSP in the Kotlin Lang website. There is a post about this announcement of as mentioned, accelerated Kotlin build time with Kotlin symbol processing. Yes, about 2 years ago, Google announced the first stable version of KSP, and yes, there is nothing we can say in here. But on the official doc, Android doc, we have a straightforward doc page that describe the steps of migrating to KSP. But there's an important thing that you must consider: the list of supported libraries when you watch this video, or later you want to migrate. Because for example, several days ago, or 1 or 2 weeks ago precisely, at last Dagger and Hilt start supporting the KSP. But for example, In the Dagger, its sublibrary called Dagger Android, it doesn't support the KSP at all, and I think it's never be, because it is convenient that Google push the users to developers to use Hilt instead of Dagger Android in Android project. For example, in our codebase Git market, I'm started to using KSP, and we can use KSP for our Dagger because we used Android Dagger or Dagger Android. The Dagger Android processor doesn't support KSP. So I think the only option for us is to migrate to Hilt instead. Also, if you using Dagger Android in your production, I think for benefit of KSP in this side of Dagger, you must migrate it to Hilt. But there is a good news that you can use Kapt and KSP interoperability, because there is a bunch of libraries that support well, such as Room, Moshi, and Glide, Epoxy, if you are using Epoxy in your project, and so on. For example, in our code base, I did the migration for Moshi, and but as mentioned, I couldn't migrate the Dagger library, but we can do a migration in a project. I did it in the ComposeNews. ComposeNews is a project. Let me show you its GitHub repository. This is the URL of the ComposeNews. It is a playground for us to play with latest libraries and best practices and so on. Today I migrated it to KSP completely. We use Dagger Hilt, Room, and yes, we use these two libraries that use annotation processor, as I remember. So the first step for migration is adding this plugin, the KSP plugin, in your root build Gradle file. It is very important to use a correct version of KSP that matched with your Kotlin version. So in my case that I'm using 1.9.10, I must use the 1.0.13 version of KSP. After that, you must add the KSP plugin in every module that you want to use KSP. For example, in our case, in the Hilt and Room, I replaced every Kapt annotation with KSP. And in the section of plugins, you must add the KSP plugin itself. And after that, you can easily remove the Kapt version. Yes, you replaced it in the previous step. And then you can simply remove all of the Kapt configuration. Also, maybe you have these lines in your app Gradle file and so on. So in this way you can easily migrate your app from Kapt to KSP and benefit the increase in the build speed. For example, in the ComposeNews, we experience about 26% faster build speed. It reduced the build time from around 50 second to 36 second, I think, if I remember correctly, but it is around 26%. And if we apply this in a large production code base, we can see more significant improvement. But as you can imagine, if you are using, if you depend on Kapt heavily, you can more benefit of the increase in the build time, because in our Hilt used in every module, I think, but Room is used in the local data source precisely, but Hilt is in everywhere. For example, yes, this is it, and I hope this video helps you to have an overview of the KSP and helps you to decide if there is a good time to migrate your project to KSP or not. See you next time.